Audio check, audio check. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel here on a Sunday night once again for the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. We are at Suzuka for this week, Land of the Rising Sun, Japan, for the third to last round of this season. So we're already now going into the business end of this season in Tier 2. We've got Robe leading the championship now by quite some way, having taken, well, I think it could have been a win last week, but it ended up not being so. It ended up being Henry who took the win down to a no tyre change strategy, which we've seen him do quite a few times this season. It was an incredible race at Barcelona, and unfortunately for Andrew, we saw him bin it with a lap and a half left to go. Could have probably got ahead of Henry on fresh tyres, but unfortunately for him, it just slipped away. But what a race we saw last week. We saw Robbie nonetheless extend his championship lead and looking to take a firm grip on his top spot currently in the standings. I will hopefully get the championship standings up to date after tonight, guys. I haven't actually done the standings after last week, as I was working today. I don't usually work Sundays, so Sundays is usually my admin day. But today I was working 6:30 till 2, and then obviously getting up at half six in the morning. I needed a bit of a nap in the afternoon just so I had my energy ready for the comps tonight. So I've basically been napping since about 3 o'clock, nap from 3 until 6, and then up again and ready to go with a bit of food and a coffee ready for tonight. But yeah, for those of you who are hoping to see the standings up to date, unfortunately I haven't got those ready just yet, but hopefully that'll be updated in due course. But currently we've got 20 drivers out on track right now here for the Tier 2s. We've got a few people missing from the race. A few people said they couldn't make it on SLP earlier on. Guido, Chris, the Coding Monkey, and the funny looking guy all said they couldn't make it tonight, which is obviously a shame, but and also Day 666 as well. So we're missing 4 regular drivers from tonight's racing. Also we're missing Totally Zero K, who couldn't make it either. Although I was saying that Totally Zero K might be able to get in before the end of qualifying, so keep an eye out, because we might be seeing him getting in just before the end if he can make it in the nick of time. Also haven't got Rusty Man. Kodalunga also can't make it tonight either. I think GPL was out on track. He's got 2 accounts for some reason, so he is here, even though it's showing up as unconfirmed on SLP. Joe Ramos pulled out the championship for ACC. You got Bray, they got MCVDG's not here either. So yeah, a few drivers can't make it, but we've got sort of 20 out on track. Hopefully we can get to 21 or 22 maybe if we see Totally Zero K getting himself in before the end of this session. But right now we're watching Henry in the Audi, the winner from last week at Barcelona, the tyre conservationist here at Motive in the Tier 2s for the GT3s. He's been the man who's been able to out-strategize the others so far this season. We've seen him, obviously, in the race at Kota, was the quickest man at Kota, but it almost ended up throwing the race away with his no tyre change strategy, because in effect, it was actually the worst strategy to go for. Probably the most advantageous strategy to be on would have probably been to go for the tyre change in that one. But I think last week at Barcelona it was just about the quicker strategy to do what he did, but he almost got overhauled by Andrew, who was flying right at the end of the race. But Andrew made a mistake with a lap and a half left to go, coming out of turn 4, and basically put it in the wall, and that will put pay to his chances of nabbing Henry on the final part of the race. But they were nip and tuck, and I tell you what, he had much better tyres than Henry. And yeah, Henry got quite lucky with Andrew making that mistake. But we're just watching Henry here coming up, about to finish his first flying lap of the session. He has got a bit of traffic in front of him in the shape of Tumbaz, so he'll be hoping that Tumbaz doesn't hold him up too much here as they're coming through 130R. Here they come through into the final sector of the lap. What are we going to be seeing happen here with these guys? As here is Henry just coming through the chicane, and around the final corner he goes. Andrew's done a 201.8. That's currently the benchmark. Exeron does a 203, high 203. Afford into the 206s, and Henry, we don't know yet. He obviously didn't have a lap time, so we don't know what lap time he would have done. There's no indication. Robe goes into second place behind Andrew, so the time's coming in thick and fast right now. But Andrew a tenth ahead of Robe at the moment in this session. You got Kangi sat in third place with Spur time in fourth, doing a good job here tonight. And he was saying to me a couple of days ago, every day is a school day in terms of ACC and learning the tracks and just figuring out what's what. But he's a driver who's very enthusiastic. I've spoken to him a fair bit on the Discord, and yeah, he's really getting stuck into the action here. But we've got Diego going P4 in this session there, just into the low 202s kind of at the moment. Also, I want to apologise for my voice tonight. I've got a bit of a cough. I'm not in the greatest of conditions right now, I must admit. I've got a bit of a cough and a cold, and yeah, definitely feeling under the weather a little bit, but that's not going to stop me. I'm still going to cover these GT3s in all their glory here tonight at Motive. Never ever going to shy away from a Sunday night GT3 championship round here on ACC, because this is part of what my whole week leads up to. You know, I'm not just going to take the night off just because I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. But yeah, we're currently watching your provisional pole sitter Andrew coming into the final chicane here on his second flying lap. Can he improve on his 201.8 and extend his margin at the top of this leaderboard? Now the tyres are going to be getting ever warmer and much more in the groove. Here he comes over the line. What is it for Andrew? He doesn't improve, and Kev Sim there has just gone 8 tenths of a second quicker, but Andrew goes and trumps him there by a tenth of a second. So these guys trading lap times. Kev Sim took it away. Andrew's now got it again here. So these guys running very close in terms of overall talent here tonight. You've got Robe coming into the final chicane just here. He's just behind Leximate on the track, as Henry's gone into third place, so he's now done a valid lap, and there's a 201.1 there. So that is a very, very solid time indeed there from Henry as he sees Tumbaz just moving out his way. Oh, and he gets blocked there by another driver. That was who was that? I'm not quite sure who that was. That was Afford there, who was just in front of him in the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately there for Henry, and Henry returns to the pits with a bit of damage there to repair. But yeah, halfway through this qualifying session here for round 6 of the GT3 Championship here at Motive on ACC. Here for the Tier 2s out on track at Suzuka. We currently got Andrew, Kev Sim and Henry very close in this leaderboard. Only 2 tenths of a second currently separating those three. As you've got Error Code there making his debut tonight. Well, big warm welcome to Error Code here on the Motive Racing channel. Good to see you for the first time driving in the number 23 Audi tonight. And yeah, big warm welcome obviously to him. We've got Robe coming through the middle part of the lap towards the Kobayashi hairpin. Championship leader currently a second off of the pace, so he's got work to do if he wants to get himself into the mix for the race win here tonight. That's for sure. We've got Kangi sat in P6 at the moment in this qualifying session. He's just coming through into Spoon Curve right now. He's got somebody right up behind him here. That is Spur Time, who's on the back of him. Spur Time's quickest lap is only 2 tenths off of Kangi, so these two running pretty close in terms of overall potential right now. As we see them coming down the back straight, down towards 130i, you can see that Spur Time's got a bit of a run here. Is he going to get held up? Is he going to just run into him at the worst possible time here? Here they come through 130i, they go. Spur Time has had to back out of that a little bit, I think, because he's got nowhere to really go here. I tell you what, I'd much rather have the TV camera than the helicopter. I don't know, do people like the helicopter cam? Let me know in the comments what you think of the helicopter cam. If you like it, we'll stick with it. Totally Zero K saying, yo, audio good, supporting behind the scenes, watching on the phone. Welcome along, Totally Zero K. Hopefully you'll be able to, I don't know if you're able to jump in. It'd be a shame that you obviously if you can't, but nonetheless, good to see you on the stream as always. Glenn GT saying, even all, one Spur Time and error could do well to see. I don't know. I hope that Spur Time and Erico could do well this evening. Well, currently you've got Erico right up there in 4th place. So he's within 7/10 of a second on his debut. That is incredible pace there from him. Also Spur Time in 11th place, so no slouch either. High supporting Andrew here, says Totally Zero K. Andrew currently on provisional pole position right now, doing everything he has to do in this qualifying session at this point. So yeah, it's been a very strong session indeed so far from Andrew, as he's obviously was the quickest man last week at Barcelona, but got a bit unfortunate with the strategy, and obviously could have probably won the race, but just lost control of the car on the penultimate lap of the race, and that put paid to his chances, because he would have had fresher tyres and would have probably been able to pick Henry off quite easily, I would have thought, in that last lap. But what's done is done. It is what it is. And Andrew will get another shout at it. We'll get another chance to right the wrongs here tonight at Suzuka, as he's coming through 130R. Let's see if he can improve on his current personal best, which is currently the only time in the 2-minute deads. He's everybody else is in the 201s or 202s or 203s, 4s or 5s. But let's see what Andrew can put on the board here as he's coming out of the last corner. The second line is the start-finish line, not the first one. So let's see what he does as he comes over now. And he doesn't improve, stays on obviously on P1, but doesn't improve his time for the time being. Kevsim coming out of Spoon Curve. Henry is just coming through Degner 1 right now. But yeah, let's stay with Kevsim here as he's coming through the final few corners up towards 130R he goes. Kevsim's had a few good races so far this season. Has been plagued with a bit of bad luck, but he's been the fastest driver at a couple of the circuits so far this season. He's one who's always up there, but in the championship he's not really materialised for him for whatever reason. I believe he was quite quick at Silverstone and also Zolder as well. I remember he's battling for the win in both of those races, but over the line he comes nonetheless. Doesn't improve at the moment, stays in P2. Henry's just coming through out of Spoon Curve now, just down the back straight. You got Erico, who's onto the gravel there on the exit of the chicane. Luke van der Street is going through Degner 1 right now. Robe is just coming through. Where is he? He's coming through. He's just come out of the S's and he's coming towards the end of the first sector. He's just at the end of the first sector now. Kangi and Tumbaz in the pits, so they're not going to improve. That I think is goes without saying. We've got Henry coming through the chicane and out the final corner. Let's see what Henry can put on the board. Can he get a little bit quicker here? Can he maybe put himself on pole? He's only 2/10 off of Andrew, or maybe on the front row potentially. Up towards the line he comes. Henry manages to go into P1, so he does pip Andrew there by 0.04 of a second. So the man who took pole position at Cota earlier this season and won the race last week at Barcelona as well as Cota is now on pole position here at Suzuka. Can Henry make it a third win of the season from 6 races? He's currently tied with Robe on most wins so far this season, so in Tier 2, so he's currently having a very good season. Can he become the first driver in Tier 2 this season to take 3 race victories? I'm sure he'd absolutely love to do that here tonight at Suzuka. We've got Andrew coming up towards the line. Can he improve on P2 and go P1 again? Not for the time being, he certainly can't. We've got Kevsim coming through Spoon Curve right now. Let's watch him as he's coming through the final few corners. Let's see if he can get himself up onto the top spot here or get himself on the front row. He's got some traffic here, so he's going to have to watch out. Hopefully this traffic sees him and lets him through, because whoever this is in front of him probably be well advised to let him through and then obviously get some clear air and go themselves. But whoever it is hasn't noticed him yet. He might actually benefit from a bit of slipstream here, Kevsim, you know. That's the number 50 there, just in front of him. Or is it? Yeah, number 50 of Nath J. Fletch. But here comes Kevsim, nonetheless, out of the last corner. What can he put on the board here? Bit of slipstream here. That will help him massively. Does it get in pole position? No, it doesn't. He stays in 3rd place. Doesn't improve his lap time either. So no change there for Kevsim. As Henry's hit the wall there, so he's not going to improve at the end of this session. That is his session done. Currently on provisional pole position, but he's going to have to watch with bated breath to see if Andrew and Kevsim can improve their lap times here at the end of this session. Andrew's going to get one more lap in after this one that he's currently on. He's just gone through the Kobayashi hairpin, through this long, never-ending right-hander we go, and which leads down towards Spoon Curve and into the final sector. Here comes Andrew. He's only got to find 0.04 of a second here, so Henry's going to be sat there waiting quite. It's going to be squeaky bum time here for Henry, that's for sure. But here comes Andrew out of Spoon and down the back straight he comes. he will get one more run in this session after this lap that he's on, so it's not all doom and gloom if he can't hook it up this time around. But in towards 130R he goes, stays off the white line. It was right to the edge of the track, but wasn't quite on the white line. Up towards the final chicane he goes. And he nicely negotiates that here. Out of the last corner comes Andrew. Can he find those 400s that he needs here to put himself on pole position? Over the line, it's the second line, sorry, I keep forgetting. Up towards the line he comes. And no, he stays in P2, so no change there for Andrew. Kevsim currently coming through. Spoon, this will be his final run here because he's not got enough time on the clock to get around to do another lap here. He will get a bit of slipstream actually from a driver just up ahead of him. This might benefit him as long as he doesn't get held up. He's about a second behind this car that's just in front of him, so can he use this slipstream to his advantage here? Going to get a good exit out of the chicane and then use the toe. Here we come. So we've got Kevsim here coming out of the chicane. Through the right hander we go. Now he's backed out, so he's not improving, and Andrew's done as well. He's pitted, so he's not going to improve. So looking very much like Henry is going to be a pole sitter here at Suzuka tonight. Error Code is still out there. No, he's in the pits as well now. Luke van der Street's doing a great job in qualifying here tonight. Robe off the pace here, the championship leader. Caprigia has spun out onto the gravel, so he's done. What about Kangi? Kangi coming through 130R for the final time here in this qualifying session. As here he comes out of the chicane now and round the final right-hander here at Suzuka. Is it going to be a top 5 maybe for Kangi? Can he dip into the top 4 maybe? He's only 4/10 off of error code. Over the line he comes. No, he can't. Stays in P8. So that, I think, is going to be that then for qualifying here at Suzuka. Round 6 of 8 here for the GT3 Championship here at Motive on ACC for Tier 2, and Henry taking pole position here. His second pole position of the season, took the pole at Kota as well. Can he go on and take his third win of the season as well? That would be incredible if he can do that. He's got Andrew alongside him on the front row with Kevsim and Error Code in 3rd and 4th, followed by Luke van der Streets and Robe. And you've got Caprigia in 7th ahead of Kangi, followed by Tumbaz and Spur Time completing the top 10. Then you've got Diego in 11th ahead of Jules Silver, and followed by Nath J. Fletch with China Ski 14th, Extra on 15th ahead of GGJ in 16th, M. Afford 17th with GPL in 18th place, Sparky Franchise 19th, and Lexi Mate rounding out the pack in 20th. And obviously your boy there sat at the bottom in 21st as a spectator. But that is the qualifying, guys. Let us know in the comments who you're supporting here tonight. Who do we think is going to take the win in this first race of the Tier 2s here at Motive for the GT3 Championship? Stay tuned because it's going to be a cracker of a round 6 of the season here. Here we are then, guys. We are getting ready to go for round 6 of the season here at Motive for the GT3 Championship. Tier 2 out on track right now. We've got Henry leading us around, putting it on pole position, doing a great lap there by 400ths of a second ahead of Andrew. Kev Sim only a 10th off of the pole time, so it's very close between these top three. It looks like GGJ has failed to ready it up, so he's going to have to do this one from a long way back here. He will be starting from the pit lane, so he's not going to have to run through the down the start finish straight and through turn 1. Not just that, but he also will have to wait for everybody to go by before he's able to go. But nonetheless, here we come out of the last corner. We are moments away from the start of round 6 of this season, round 6 of 8, business end of the season now, and this is where it gets to crunch. Obviously the top 6 places in this tier 2 get promotion to tier 1, so there's a lot at stake here tonight, and Henry knows this because he's won a few races this season, but inconsistency for him means that he's not fully guaranteed a spot in that top 6. Drivers like Kev Sim in a similar position as well. Robe, your championship leader, is probably okay and just needs to stay consistent from here on in. But here we go, over the line now. We're starting here at Suzuka. Down towards turn 1 we go. Who's got a better start between Henry and Andrew? Looks like Andrew's got a better one. Around the outside he goes. Henry trying to keep it there on the inside. Almost contact there between the two of them as Henry goes late on the brakes, squeezes back up the inside and actually manages to get Andrew on the exit there of turn 2. So that's beautifully done there from Henry to keep onto the lead, as we've got a very clean run from everybody there coming through the first few corners. Looks like Chinaski's dropped back down the order here, down to almost the back. Oh, somebody's spun out there. Somebody's lost it there coming through the S's. In fact, 2 drivers have lost it there coming through the S's. Trying to figure out who those are at the moment. We will have that information in just a few moments time, but currently it's Henry leading the race, having survived that little scare from Andrew right at the start of the race. It looks like it might have been Luke van der Streets who made a mistake there at the start, possibly. No, it wasn't Luke van der Streets, sorry. Who was it? It definitely wasn't Luke van der Streets. It was Robe, the championship leader. So Robe there, and I think Nath J. Fletch coming together, and those guys are way down the pack. So Robe there having a bit of a moment down in 18th place. So it was Caprigia. So it wasn't Nath J. Fletcher. It was Caprigia and Robe who had a collision there. They're down to 17th and 18th places. So it's been a horror show for both of those guys. Currently we've got Henry leading ahead of Andrew, followed by Kev Sim coming into Spoon for the first time. Erico's keeping on the back of these guys. Then you've got Luke van der Streets ahead of Kangi, followed by Tumbaz. There's Spur Time ahead of Jill Silverin. Then you've got Diego GPL Racer, followed by Exeron, M. Afford in 13th ahead of Sparky Franchise, Chinaski, Leximate, Caprigia, and then you've got Robe, Nath J. Fletch, and GGJ having started from the pits, running in 20th place at the moment as he comes through Spoon Curve for the first time. But there is Henry currently coming through your shot here. He's got over a second of a gap here over Andrew, so Andrew, despite having the better start, wasn't able to capitalise, and Henry keeping on to what was his in the qualifying session. Exeron looking down the inside of GPL into 130 odd. Did he get that one done as they come down towards the chicane? In fact, sorry, that is GPL on M. Afford, sorry, should I say. So M. Afford was actually trying to attack there on him, but looks like there's nothing doing there, actually. So in fact, Exeron's got ahead of GPL up into 11th place. That is Exeron there running in P11, but coming over here, coming through turn 1 for the second time in this race. And there is the pack currently coming through your shot. And we've got a move here being lined up here by M. Afford on GPL, but just a little bit too far back coming into turn 1. Also got a move here going on between Caprigia and Nathan. Caprigia in fact, no, sorry. No, it is, Caprigia. In fact, what's happened here? Robe's there just next to Sparky Franchise, trying to go around the outside. Caprigia there losing out to Robe. Losing out to Nath, should I say. Or did he keep ahead of him? I think he did. No, he stood ahead of him. He stood ahead of him. That is Sparky Franchise there, driving a good race so far. He's got Nath on the back of him now. Nath has managed to get ahead of Leximate as well. So that's a move that's been done. But Robe's managed to get ahead of Caprigia, and now he can focus his attention on Sparky Franchise, who's there. But interesting first couple of laps here to this race then. Coming through the Daytoners. Oh, somebody's lost it in the background. Somebody's wide. They've got it horribly wrong there. That is M. Afford. Is it? Is it M. Afford? Might be. No, it's not. No, it's not M. Afford. No, the cameras are just shite on this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm clicking on people and then it's not loading. Anyway, let's go to the leaders. Whenever you don't know what's going on, just flick to the leader. It always helps to save your blushes. But Henry currently over a second ahead of Andrew right now. Andrew's actually closed the gap a little bit over the course of this lap. He's gained half a second coming through the middle sector here, so it looks like he's really made some gains. You've got Kev Sim there ahead of Aerocode, bit of a gap back to Luke Van der Streets ahead of Kangi. Then you've got Spur Time a couple of seconds behind him, Tumbas there ahead of Diego, Jill Silverin currently running in the final top 10 spot, and then there is the battle for 12 between GPL, China Ski and Robe, I think, on the back of one of the McLarens here of China Ski. Into the chicane they go. But yeah, exciting first couple of laps to this race. There's your leader coming into turn 1. And there's the chasing pack. Kangi's right on the back of Luke Van der Streets as they're going into turn 1 right now. And there you can see the rest of the top 10 going through your shot right there. There's Exeron, who's well ahead now of GPL and China Ski. Robe now trying to attack on China Ski into turn 1, but he's too far back at the moment. There's Capriga ahead of Nath, followed by M. Afford. There's Lexi with Sparky Franchise, and GTJ now trying to close up onto the back of Sparky Franchise to pick off his first victim here in this race. After starting from the pit lane, it's going to be a long way back for him, but GTJ starting to get onto the back of another driver here. But Henry is still your leader, ahead of Andrew. There's Kevsim on the back of these guys. Aerocode there running in 4th place. Luke Van der Streets has still got Kangi hastening and coming down towards the second Degner, but just a little bit too far back at the moment. There's Spur Time ahead of Tumbas. There's Diego in the background ahead of Jill Silverin as well. So just see everyone coming through right now. Oh, there is a McLaren running very wide there. And China Ski, I think it's going to lose out to Robe as they're coming down towards the Kobayashi hairpin. I've already clicked on him, but it's not picking him up. No, China Ski's still ahead of Robe, but Capriga is really attacking here on the back of Robe as well. Capriga is also got a bit of damage there on the front of his Lamborghini as well, by the looks of it. So he's obviously been involved in the wars, because we saw him have a collision with Robe on the first lap. But yeah, he's still doing a reasonable job of keeping up with Robe at this point. Robe's struggling to clear the traffic here. He's not had the best first couple of laps. Obviously started in P6, but since then he's really not made the gains after making his collision with Capriga on the first lap. As Spur Time's had a moment, because Spur Time dropping down. No, in fact, who is it? There's an Aston Martin there. It is Spur Time who is struggling as they're coming in towards 130R. He's onto the grass there on the exit of 130R. Spur Time looks to have parked it. Oh, there's a collision there as we see China Ski in the wall. Did Robe come together with him? I think he might have got through it. I don't know actually. There's a crash there. Just a bit of contact there between GPL and Robe as they're coming on the exit of the chicane. So Capriga gets through it unscathed. China Ski in the wall. Doesn't look like he's going anywhere fast. And that has gone horribly wrong as Spur Time there struggling to get it back going again. So lots of drivers losing it here in that one section, and lots of them completely unrelated to each other. But China Ski down to the back of the pack here. Spur Time also losing a load of places with that mistake or whatever it was as he's gone into the wall there. So that's not the line you want to be taking through the final corner there, Spur Time. But wow, absolute drama there. As we're going to try and work out exactly what's occurred here. M. Afford was also one of the other cars involved in that crash on the exit of 130R, so he's now in the pits to get some big damage repaired by the looks of it. Spur Time also in the pits, so is China Ski, so 3 of them deciding to come in. Robe continuing on, despite having a bit of damage on the front of his car as well, but Capriga is now well ahead of Robe in 11th place. He's now ahead of Nath as well, so Capriga making good progress after that collision with Robe on the first lap. Jill Silverin's ahead of Exeron. He's now closed up onto the back of Diego here, so these guys are only 3/10 apart right now as they're coming through the towards Spoon Curve here for the 4th time in this race. Although having said that, Jill Silverin looks to have dropped off of Diego a little bit over the course of this lap so far. Kangi's on the back of Luke Van der Streets as they're coming down the back straight down towards 130R here once again. Andrew's on the back of Kev Sim. You can see these guys coming through into the chicane. They're about 1.5 to 2 seconds off of the back of Henry, who still leads this race. So 2 seconds currently separating the top 3. Aerocode's only 1.5 seconds off of the battle for second. So 3.5 seconds covering the top 4, and then a bit of a gap back to Luke Van der Streets, who runs in P5. We have lost the driver from the race though. We've had a retirement here relatively early. And I'm just trying to work out who it is. It's not one of the... it might be one of the drivers at the back. It's not M. Afford, it's not Spur Time, it's not China Ski, it's not Sparky Franchise, it's GPL. So GPL has retired from the race here on lap 4. What a shame there, obviously, for him to lose him so early on in this race. But we see Spur Time still in the pits, M. Afford also, but Chinaski is now back out on the track, so his damage obviously not as severe as Spur Time and M. Afford's, who are still sat in their boxes right now. They haven't even come out of their boxes yet, so that's not gone to plan at all for those. But currently we've got Henry still leading the race by just over a second ahead of Kevsim. Andrew sticking to the back of these guys as well. You've got Error Code in the background, not too far away either, so not much separating the top guys right now. You've got Luke Van der Streets there running in 5th ahead of Kangi. There's Tumbaz running in 7th place ahead of Diego. You've got Jill Silverin in the background there running ahead of Exeron. We see McLaren there going ever so wide. That is Exeron there, who's now got Caprigio, who's going to come past, and so is Nathan J. Fletch. So Exeron losing 2 places there. Robe running in 13th place after a nightmare of a race for him so far. There's no other word for it. There's Leximate running just ahead of GGJ, followed by Sparky Franchise. There is Chinaski, who's been in the pits for some early repairs. Spur Time is still in his box. M. Afford has now done his repairs, so he's got the green box which says he's done his pit stop, but he's not moving. So I wonder if he's decided to throw in a towel, or maybe he's gone to make a cup of tea or something whilst he waits for it all to blow over. But currently still 2 seconds separating the top 3, and M. Afford's retired from the race, so we have lost M. Afford here from the session, and he's now gone out of the server. So what a shame there, obviously, but it looked like he wasn't moving, and I thought to myself, it's a bit strange that his pit stop's done and he's still sat there, but obviously he thinks there's no point in continuing on here. But there's the top 3. There's Error Code in 4th. You've got Luke Van der Streets, who's got Kangi still on the back of him right now, but still Luke doing everything he needs to do to keep him behind. There's Tumbaz running in 7th place. Diego there in 8th. And there's Jill Silvering coming through your shot. A couple of seconds clear of Exeron, who's got Nath a few seconds behind him. Capriga still on the back of Nath right now. There's Robe, who's running behind Chinaski, who's obviously a lap down. There is Leximate, who's ahead of GGJ. Spocky Franchise, they're still going in P16. Spur Time is still in the pits, and he's still not got the green box yet, so he's still not actually finished his pit stop. As we've got High Grade Parade kindly reminding us there in the comments to reset the Tier 1 server. Sorry for that, guys. Apologies, my bad. I was so absorbed in the Tier 2s that I completely lost track of time, so I'm just going to do that right now. Yep, right, Tier 1 has now been reset, guys. But currently this is the battle for the lead here. You've got Kevsim, Henry and Andrew separated by about a second right now. So Henry and Andrew remade gains here on Kevsim. In fact, hold on, Henry's behind Kevsim. What's going on here? Sorry, Kevsim. Completely neglected the fact that you were in second place. You're now in the lead. So Henry's made a mistake. He must have dropped it somewhere. And Henry now down in P2. So Kevsim up into the lead. Andrew's on the back of these guys as well. So this has now brought this battle for the lead right into play. You've only got Error Code, who's about, 2-3 seconds off of the lead right now, so he's right there as well. Andrew is quite close to the back of Henry as they're coming down the start-finish straight in towards turn 1, but Andrew just a little bit too far away on Henry right now. But there's the top 3 with Error Code running in 4th place just there. There's Luke Van der Streets, who's got Kangi on the back of him. Tumbaz is actually bringing himself into that fight. He's not far away from them at all as they come through turn 1. You've got Diego there in the background running in 8th place ahead of Jill Silverin. Yeah, that is currently the state of affairs at this particular moment. Let's stay with this battle at the front though, because this is I think where it's at the moment. Kevsim has got the fastest lap of the race so far, and he's currently got track position here on Henry as well. He's extending his gap bit by bit here, just over a second now separating Kevsim and Henry. So he's done a reasonably decent job in the last few laps here as Kevsim of just pulling away ever so slightly. Henry there just ahead of Andrew still, and Error Code's just not falling completely off of them. He's still within 3 seconds of the lead here, so he could be a factor in this race, that's for sure. Luke Van der Street's still ahead of Kangi. These two have been tied at the hip now for a considerable number of laps, but still Kangi can't put Luke under enough pressure to force him into a mistake. Battle for P2 still rages on. Kev Sim's just gapped Henry and Andrew a little bit out in front. I mean, I say gapped, I mean, he's over a second ahead of them, so, you know, it's not massively quicker, but yeah, definitely he's got a bit of comfort. Saying that though, Henry's closed the gap coming through the middle sector here. It's only half a second now separating Kev Sim and Henry, so Henry's just closed that gap a little bit as they're coming into the final chicane. Andrew's still on the back of Henry right now as they come through, but yeah, Kev Sim at points pulling away, and then out of the points, Henry and Andrew bringing the gap down a little bit. Error code there, still running in P4, still about 3 seconds off for the lead right now. As Andrew ever closer on, Andrew's ahead of Henry. Andrew's made the move on Henry up into P2. So Andrew up into second place. He's obviously made that move coming through the middle sector there. So now Henry's down to third place. So he was leading this race. Obviously Henry did start on pole position, but we know that Henry likes doing a full tank. So could that potentially be the reason why he's not on the pace of these two at this point? Nonetheless, he has lost out to both of them, but this could change as this race goes on. If he stays out on the same tyres he starts on, he will do a much shorter pit stop, but he will also have much more worn out tyres at the end. And this is a track where it probably doesn't really reward not doing a pit stop. I imagine it's quite hard on the tyres, Suzuka. It's definitely not one that's easy to save tyres, but then again, Henry managed to make one set of tyres last the entire race at Kota, which is an absolute killer on the tyres. So if any man can do it here at Suzuka tonight, it's definitely Henry. Oh, as in the background there, I think that's Luke van der Streets there has lost it. And no, Kangi, sorry, has lost it, not Luke van der Streets. Kangi there losing it coming out of Degna 2. It was the Black Bentley there, so he's now lost out to Tumbaz and Diego, who are up into 6th and 7th respectively, and Kangi now down to 8th place after a little mistake just there. But Jill Silverin is running in 9th place. He's got a train of cars behind him, Exeron, Nath J. Fletch. You've got Caprigi there running in P12. So not much separating these four guys at this point. As Diego there's got ahead of Kangi up into 7th place. As Exeron's now ahead of Jill Silverin as well. So Exeron getting himself into 9th. So they all file through 130R. Kev Sim though still out in front, still handling business here ahead of Andrew, nearly 2 seconds the gap between those two. There's Henry in third. You've got a couple of seconds back to error code. Exeron's got Jill Silverin still close on him. There's Nath J. Fletch on the back of these as well. Caprigi there running just ahead of the lapped car of spur time, 4 laps down spur time. Not been the race, obviously had to come in for some early repairs. Kev Sim pulling out the gap at the front though. He's got 2.5 seconds now over Andrew, so Kev Sim is definitely the quickest man in terms of race pace. Henry's dropping off a bit here, and Henry obviously is, well, he's on the I think he's probably on the full tank strategy, no tyre change. That's the strategy he usually goes for, so it could explain why he's currently not lapping on the pace of Kev Sim, and obviously he's lost out to Andrew as well. But the top 3 separated by 3 seconds. Error code 2.5 seconds off of the back of Henry, so just over 5 seconds covering the top 4 at this point. Oh. 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 So there we go, Erico back out onto the track. Kev's in well ahead of Erico actually. So he's had a much better stop there. He was ahead of him already, to be fair, but he looks to be a little bit further ahead than he was. So Diego back out onto the track. There's Jill Silverine just coming out of the pits now. Andrew now coming in at the end of lap 16. So I think everybody's pretty much half tanking it here. Erico's actually lost out to Henry in the pits. So Henry's got the undercut on him, but he's 5 seconds behind Kev Sim. So I wonder if Henry's got the pace to be able to bring the fight to Kev Sim here on the track. Obviously Henry was the pole sitter, so we know he's got pace around here. Andrew into the box. What is his pit stop going to be like? Those who are putting more fuel in, who put less fuel in at the start, will have more to put in the pit stop, and might potentially have longer pit stops. So we could be seeing a bit of swing in terms of the gaps to drivers at the front. But Andrew in the box right now. Luke Van der Streets and Tumbaz both coming in at the end of lap 16 as well. Exeron coming in here also. So Andrew's now done his stop. He's now off and away. Where is Kev Sim? Kev Sim coming down the start finish straight here. Kev Sim's going to get the jump on Andrew here. I'll tell you what, Kev Sim, Andrew might lose out to Henry here. Henry's got ahead of him, so Henry there up into what is a net P2. In fact, it is P2 because Tumbaz has now been into the pits as well. So Andrew now leads this race. Sorry, Kev Sim now leads this race. Henry in second. Andrew comes out in third place. So Andrew must have had a bit less fuel in the tank and has had to put a little bit more in his car for this final stint. So Andrew now down in third place. Kev Sim leads ahead of Henry. Andrew in third place. That is your top three. Tumbaz has now done his pit stop, so we're going to see what the gaps are as they're now coming through to the end of the first sector. It's Kev Sim who's your race leader. Oh, it's trying to ski there, getting it all wrong in the foreground as they're coming through your shot. But there is your race leader, Kev Sim. He's 5 seconds ahead of Henry in second, and Andrew 2 seconds behind Henry in third. So currently 7 seconds covering the top 3. You've got error code about 3 seconds off of them, so 10 seconds covering the net top 4. GTJ currently running in fourth, but he still needs to pit here in this race, as Kev Sim still sat in the lead of the race by just under 5 seconds right now over Henry. There's Andrew running in third place. Looks like Kangi's on the back of Luke van der Streets as well, as they're just coming out of Spoon, I think. In fact, actually, Luke van der Streets is well ahead here of Kangi. So yeah, I don't know what happened to Kangi there, but he's now 4 seconds behind Luke van der Streets. Kev Sim still leading by 4 seconds over Henry. And there's Andrew running in third place at the moment. So here we are, here we are then guys, lap 21 of the Tier 2 race here for the GT3 Championship at Motive. We've got Kev Sim leading the race by 2 seconds. So Kev Sim, I think, must have made a mistake in the last couple of laps because Henry's really brought that gap down. You can see him bringing himself closer and closer and closer. Kev Sim, though, if it was a mistake, might be able to respond to this pace. Doesn't look like he's got damage on the car, so he must have just dropped it somewhere, run wide maybe, or had a little half spin or something. Not quite sure, but Henry's now almost under 2 seconds behind him. You got Andrew there just over 4 seconds off for the lead at this point, so he's definitely on the fringes of potentially taking a win here as well. Error code sat in the background there in 4th place. He's about 10 seconds off of the lead, so I don't think he's going to be playing much of a role here in this battle. But nonetheless, let's see how this one pans out, because Henry's continuing to take big chunks here out of Kev Sim's lead. 1.7 the gap now between the top two. There's Andrew, who's also closing the gap to Kev Sim. So is Kev Sim starting to struggle a little bit here. So as we're coming towards the final quarter of this race for round 6 of the GT3 Championship here at Motive on the PS5. Also noticing on the timing board there's a battle going on between Exeron and Robe for 11th place. As we see here, Robe looking to the outside of Exeron, coming through 130. Is this going to be job done for him? I think it is. He tucks it into 11th place. Easily done there from Robe. As the gap between Kev Sim and Henry hasn't really come down too much over the course of this lap. It's still 1.6, so he's gained a 10th on this lap so far as Henry. But Kev Sim looks like he's now starting to recover a little bit of his pace. Probably just upping the tempo here. Knows that he's got Henry charging after him quite quickly now. Time out within a second of Diego as they're coming through deck number 1 at the moment. Exeron is on the back of Robe here, as these guys are separated by half a second right now. But Kev Sim's gap to Henry currently just over a second. 1.3 between these two going into turn 1. There's Andrew in the background. 3.5 seconds off of the lead, but the gap is coming down bit by bit here between Kev Sim and Henry. Henry definitely the quickest man out on track at the moment. Jasmine in the comments saying, how's the race going? It's been an interesting race. At points I've been commentating, but my controller was on mute. I'm feeling really sick at the moment, and as a result it kind of is affecting me cognitively as well. So I did have my controller on mute, and I thought I was commentating the entire time. Looked down, saw that I had the button on, and thought, oh, you've got to be kidding me. But yeah, it's been an exciting race. It's been interesting strategy wise. Andrew was leading before the pit stops, but he had to put more fuel in his car, I think, and ended up behind Kev Sim and Henry. Henry, I thought, was going to be doing his usual strategy of full tanking it and not changing tyres, but it appears that he's actually done a half tank, and he's now closing in on Kev Sim towards the end of this race. Henry won't be used to driving on fresh or freshish tyres at this point in the race, so it's going to be quite a novelty for him to be able to enjoy the full benefit of some tyres that still have plenty of tread on them. And obviously he's got a light tank as well, but he usually has a light tank anyway. But the tyres will be feeling like an absolute godsend underneath him right now. So there's 4 seconds still covering the top 3 at the moment, with Kev, Sim, Henry and Andrew just coming through your shot there. Just now 3.2 the gap actually between the top 3. But Kev Sim still leads by just over a second to Henry. As they're coming out through the final corner. As we start lap 24 of the race, it's Kev Sim from Henry from Andrew. So here's Kev Sim. He's just extended the gap to Henry by a little bit coming to the first sector. It's now 1.7 between these two. So Kev Sim upping the tempo a little bit as Henry goes wide there out of Degner 2. Andrew in the background there, just within 4 seconds of the leaders right now. But Kev Sim's now starting to just, I think, respond to the pressure from behind. You got Caprigia still on the back of Jill Silver in just over a second, separating those two in 9th and 10th places. There's the gap between the top 2, Kev Sim and Henry, with Andrew in the background. 1.7 between Kev Sim and Henry, so Kev Sim's now responding at the right moment here in this race, coming towards the closing stages of this Tier 2 race for round 6 of 8 here for Season 3, here for the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship at Motive. As Kev Sim comes over the line now. And we've got 5 laps left to go here at Suzuka. There's Henry, there's Andrew. Oh dear. There's Capriga, still on the back of Jill Silver in that fight for 9th place. But Kev Sim continues to extend his gap here over Henry. It's now 2 seconds between those two. There's Andrew trying to cling on to the back of them as well. Capriga still hassling the back of Jill Silver in as they're coming into the chicane. Can he get a good run out of the chicane and maybe get a run down the start finish straight, potentially go for a move into turn 1? Doesn't look like he gets a good enough run out of the last corner. Loses quite a bit of time actually to Jill Silver and just Capriga coming through that part of the track. That's Guido Cristo saying what happened to Robo. He had a collision on the first lap actually with Capriga, and these two have both been bringing their way through the pack, but they were both right at the back at the end of the first lap, and it's just been an uphill task really for Robe since then. Capriga in the same situation, is only 4 seconds ahead of him, so it's been slow progress for those guys, but really it was just the start of the race that did them in, and they got damage as well, so they've just struggled ever since really. And no worries mate, I know that I know that people can't, I know that it's not sometimes possible to make every single race in a season, but yeah, good to see you in the comments nonetheless tonight. Welcome along. And yeah, Robe, just a first lap collision really put paid to his chances of being anywhere in this one, but he's only 5 seconds off of Jill Silver. And Capriga and Robe, you'd think probably hunting down well, Robe could be hunting down a top 10 finish here because Capriga is only 3 seconds ahead of him. Jill Silveren's actually pulling away from Capriga at this point, so maybe Robe could have a crack at Capriga before the end of this race. He'll be hoping there isn't a repeat of what we saw on the first lap though. But Henry's still running in second place. Kev Sim's gapped Henry and Andrew by quite a bit over the last few laps. You can see here he's got nearly 3 seconds to Henry. Henry seems to be taking a bit too much out of his tyres here. Andrew's now right on him, half a second between them coming through the S's. But Henry's still holding on to that position for the time being. Guido Chris there saying at least he won't score many points, still to play for in the championship. Yeah, I think so. Well, they're saying that he will still score some points. It's going to be, I think he's going to have one hand on it, to be fair, mate. It's going to take something pretty spectacular now, I think, to deny Robe of this title. Still the gap not much between Henry and Andrew at this point. But Kev Sim currently just over 3 seconds ahead of Henry at this stage. Guys, I just want to apologise for the fact that the stream was muted for a considerable part of this race. I'm not feeling well, and I think cognitively it's affecting me as well. A bit tired. I was working today. Don't usually work on Sundays. Usually have the day to sort of prepare for the stream and do a bit of admin, do the championship standings for one. But yeah, I worked the last 6 days in a row. I'm quite tired, quite run down, and very ill as well. I've got some kind of flu. I don't know quite what, but it's really proving to be a bit of a drag at the moment. Kev Sim there, still ahead of Andrew. We saw Andrew there. Henry still ahead of Andrew. Kev Sim well clear of these two as they're battling out over the scraps here in second and third places. Robe's still trying to hassle Capriga. He's closed up onto the back of him, and he's now really looking set to try and take a P10 here. Getting himself into the top 10 after a nightmare of a start to this race. It'd be decent damage limitation here for Robe, I think. And Robe's actually done Capriga there, coming down a straight into 130 yards. So Robe up into 10th place. Andrew's still on the back of Henry as they're coming out of Daytona 2 through towards the Kobayashi hairpin. But they're 3 seconds behind the race leader Kev Sim, who's just coming around to put a lap on Sparky Franchise by the looks of it as well. So he'll be doing that in a moment. Dave says, I'm surprised you're still commentating. So am I, mate. So am I. I've still got tier 1 to go after this. Oh, how am I saving it for tier 1? Oh, I definitely need to get a drink of water after this. Oh, I need to invest in some horse soothers as well. Oh well. What is joy without sufferance, eh? But Andrew's still on the back of Henry right now. These guys coming out of the final corner. Andrew's still trying to get the run. Can he use the slipstream here down the start finish straight to maybe have a look into turn 1 here on Henry? You can see the race leader Kev Sim there in the foreground coming into turn 1. Here goes Andrew looking to the inside into turn 1. He's got a great run and he's going to send it up the inside here. Henry leads him into space, goes a bit wide onto the curb there. You can see that the bottom end of Henry's car just scraping along the curb, but Andrew's done that one up into second place and he's got the move done up into turn 2. Now that is job done there, beautifully done. Henry there just, I think, saw him coming and a bit late and ended up going wide, and that was all that Andrew needed to take a second place here in this race. Kev Sim, I think, a little bit beyond him, so I think P2 is going to be the summit of Andrew's ambitions here in this race. Can Henry come back at him in the final couple of laps of this race? Nonetheless, it is now Andrew into second place, and Henry stood on the back of him right now as they're coming through Degna 1. Great move there, says Day, absolutely. As we have got, I think this is going to be, it's going to be close actually as to whether we're going to have, whether we're going to have 1 or 2 more laps after this. I think we're only going to have 1 more lap after this. So we should be pretty close to the end of this race. Henry's coming into the pits. What's going on? He must have not put enough fuel in the car. Henry's coming in here on the final lap. Kev Sim starts the final lap. He's 2 seconds ahead of Andrew. So Henry there obviously knew he was going to run dry. He won't have to put much in because he's only going to do one lap. So where's it going to come out? That's going to be interesting to see. As he's now stopping in the box, it's going to be a very quick stop here. Luke van der Street is coming around the final corner, so he'll be on the scene in a moment. There's Henry into the box. And Luke van der Street, oh, Kangi loses it in the background. That could be his opportunity to nab Henry gone. He's well ahead of Tumbas running in P7, so Kangi will be able to get it going. Henry might come out ahead of Kangi, and Kangi would have come out ahead of him if it wasn't for that spin out of the last corner, but Henry is going to be able to bring it around, I think, on the final lap for a P5. With Kangi making that mistake, that has cost him a 5th place finish here in this race. And Henry there should be able to bring it around on this last lap for that position. Oh no, says Dave in the comments there. $15 of you currently watching the stream. Guys, smash the like button if you've enjoyed what you're seeing tonight. Apologies, I've only been commentating for half of it. My voice is absolutely dead. I've got a really, really bad flu of some kind, and it's absolutely doing me in. But Andrew coming out of Spoon Curve here for the final time here in the Tier 2 race at Suzuka. 4 rounds 6 of 8 here for Season 3 on the PlayStation 5 in the GT3s here at Motive on ACC. Into 130R comes Andrew, and he's finally going to get a win on the board. I tell you what, it's been a long time coming for this man. He's taken some very strong finishes so far this season. Last week at Barcelona, it could have been a win, but he made a mistake with a lap and a half left to go when he had much fresher tyres than Henry. He comes around the final corner here at Suzuka. It's going to be P1 tonight for Andrew. His first win at Motive as he takes the checkered flag. Congratulations to Andrew. Well done on your first win tonight. Well deserved. Kev Sim's going to come over to take 2nd place in the end. A decent drive and some good points there for him in his push for promotion for this season. Error code. What a shout out to him. 3rd place on his debut here tonight on the Motive channel. Well done. Great inception from you. Luke van der Street is going to come around the final corner to take a very creditable 4th place here tonight. Well done to him. A flash of the lights. He's pretty chuffed, and rightly so. Well done. Henry will hold on for P5, well ahead of Kangi. Kangi must have made another mistake there on the last lap, because he's well off at the back of Henry as Henry comes over to take P5. Kangi's going to come out of the last corner. He's about to be unlapped by Leximate, but Leximate comes over to take the checkered flag. Sparky Franchise and Spur Time have already finished. Kangi there takes P6. Leximate classified as being P13. Tumbas just gets pipped by Diego there, so Diego takes 7th ahead of Tumbas in 8th. Jill Silverin's going to come over in 9th. Ignore that, it's not 8th, that's because somebody's left. Robe comes over to take 10th. Caprica in 11th, and Exeron will be the last driver over the line in 12th place. But guys, we'll be back very, very shortly for Tier 1. Congratulations to Andrew on taking a well-deserved victory here. Well done to him on taking his first ever win here at Motive. Kev Sim and error code for taking the podium places. And yes, stay with us, guys, because we're going to have the Tier 1s underway in a moment's time. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, guys. I've plucked up the courage to put the mic on and start talking. My voice is wrecked. I'm feeling absolute death, but that's not the point, because tonight we have got round 6 of the GT3 Championship here at Motive on Assetto Corsa Competizione here on the PlayStation 5 platform. We've got the Tier 1 drivers out on track in front of us right now for what is set to, I'm sure, be a great race here at Suzuka. We've first ever, actually, I think we've done in the GT3 Championship on a Sunday at Suzuka, because traditionally we've always done non-DLC tracks for the Sunday GT3s, but obviously for this season I thought if people have forked out for a PlayStation 5 in the last couple of years, they're surely willing to spend £8, £10, £12, whatever, on a DLC. You'd have thought. So I thought, why not? Why not throw in some DLC tracks? It makes sense, doesn't it? So obviously we're here tonight at Suzuka on one of the tracks from the Intercontinental GT pack, which was actually one of the first DLCs to be released onto console back in late 2020, I think it was, that this came out. So it's, sort of getting on for 2.5-3 years old since this DLC pack has been out, and this Suzuka track is one of my favourites, actually. My claim to fame in terms of racing on ACC is that I actually finished second in a GT4 championship race here at Suzuka many years ago now. Well, only about 2 years ago, actually. But I actually came second to Javier Ranz, who was an incredibly quick sim racer, and I was very privileged to be able to actually finish best of the rest to him in a GT4 race around his circuit. So yeah. Anyway, Jazzman has just done an incredible lap time there. Speaking of incredible sim racers, Jazzman has just gone half a second quicker than Luca, the first driver tonight to dip into the 159s, and he's the only driver by some way to go into the 159s as well. Luca's currently coming through the final few corners. Let's see if he can improve here. Currently sat in second at the moment as he's coming into the final chicane. Let's see if he can nail it. As here he comes through the final right-hander and out onto the start-finish straight he comes, going a bit wide there, almost onto the grass. So Luca here up towards the line. And what is it going to be for Luca? He stays in P2, so he can't improve. But it's interesting, because obviously last week at Barcelona we saw that the Tier 2 pole time was actually quicker than the Tier 1 time. But here at a track like Suzuka, we see that Jazzman over a second clear of the fastest time that we saw in Tier 2. So some tracks you see a huge difference, a huge gulf in class from Tier 1 to 2, and then other tracks it's like it's not even there. It's like it's not even a thing. It really is unbelievable. But yeah, Jazzman currently 4/10 clear of his old rival Tinus in the house. You got Luca in third ahead of Ludo, followed by Max Power, who sits in fifth. Then you've got Titan Guto, who completes the top six. The top six are actually well clear of everybody else. The top six separated by a second, and then it's a big gap back to Mary Louise in seventh. As he improves a little bit, but not by that much. He's 3/10 clear of PS Fids, who's sat in 8th, and then you've got Carvastar in 9th ahead of High Grade, who sits in P10 at the moment. So, and then you've got Epiphany in 11th place, followed by Lol 3000, who sits in 12th as he bins it into the wall there. That's going to be his lap that he's done. Matev sat in 13th at the moment in his session with Spuzz 14th. Does he improve on that lap? No, he does not. Tom Quarantine, P15 at the moment. You've got Brando and Glenn both in the pits, and Yellow Army looks to be, well, it says he's on track, but he isn't. So I don't quite know what's going on there. As Jazzman has improved even more there. He is well into the 59s now, not scraping it like he was before. He is now at 59.7 there from Jazzman. Tinus in house is finishing a lap. He's going to have one more lap after this as well in this session. So can Tinus find 6/10? I mean, that would be a hell of a push if he can. But here he comes into the final chicane, and Tinus in the house just got this right, left, and then the final flat-out right-hander to go. You want to be as smooth as you possibly can through this right-hander, because it leads out onto the straight. It's quite a long run to the line, and you can really gain quite a bit of speed by being as smooth and as sensitive on the wheel, but he doesn't improve there, does Titus, so he will get one more run here to try and find those 6/10ths needed to go onto pole. Luca and Ludo look like they're both done for the session. Titan Guto's got into P5 there, pushes Max Power down a position, so Titan Guto within 7/10ths of the pole time. He's now done, he's pulled off to the side, so he's done for the session. Max Power comes over, doesn't improve on P6. Mary Louise is coming through the final chicane. He's currently nearly 2 seconds off of the pace though, so he's going to have to find an absolute worldie of a lap time here to to move up the order. See if he can. He does improve very fractionally though, not by anywhere near enough needed to move up. PS Fid's P8, it looks like he's done, he's in the pits. So is Karmasar. You've got High Grade just going through, it looks to be the Kobayashi hairpin right now. You've got Epiphany in the pits. Lowell 3000 is coming through the up towards, he's coming through the S's at the moment. Matev coming down the back straight, which leads down towards 130R. You've got Spuzz in the pits. Tom Quarantine also in the pits now. Brando and Glenn were already there. Yellow Army likewise. I want to apologise also, guys, for my voice tonight. Well, I shouldn't really apologise because it's actually not my fault at all. So, in reality, what I'm saying is, I'm sorry that it is the case, but I'm not apologising. It's not me personally that's apologising. I'm sorry that it is. That this is the way it is. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not apologising by acknowledging wrongdoing. What I'm doing is I'm essentially saying I'm sorry that this is the way it is. Yeah. Not apologising because I'm actually not responsible for my own health in that to that extent. But anyway, Titus in the house coming out of the last corner. Let's see if he can improve on what's currently P2 for him. He's 6/10ths of a second off of the provisional pole being set by Jazzman. Can he find a bit of time here? Doesn't look like he can, so he stays in P2. What about Luca here? He's coming to the final corner. He's also got Max Power in the background. These two, I think, will be the last drivers round. And Low 3000, Luca, he's done. I'm thinking of Low 3000 because he's coming through 130R. Max Power will be the next over the line. Can he improve on P6? Nope, he stays in P6. I think Low 3000 is still out on the track. So let's see what Low 3000 can do as he's coming into the pits. So that is the session done then for this qualifying here at Automotive for the Tier 1s for the ACC GT3s. And it is Jazzman who takes pole by a big margin as well. 6/10ths of a second over Titus in the house. Luca in third with Ludo in fourth. Titan Guto and Max Power completing the top six. The top six well clear of everybody else. Mary Louise in 7th, ahead of PS Fit in 8th, followed by Karmasar, who will line up in 9th place, ahead of High Grade, who will be in P10, followed by Epiphany in 11th, Low 3000 in 12th, with Matev in 13th, Spuzz in 14th place, ahead of Tom Quarantine in 15th, then you've got Brando in 16th, with Glenn GT in 17th, and Yellow Army will round out the grid here for the Tier 1s here for the GT3s Automotive in 18th place. Here we go then, guys. Here goes nothing. I'm going to try and talk non-stop for the next hour, but apologies if I can't keep it up because I'm so ill right now. My voice is dead and I'm struggling like hell. But we've got Raki in the comments here saying, good evening all. Shout out to Glenn GT. He says, Glenn, we're lining up in P17 for this one, but can he make his way back through the pack here? It's obviously going to be survival of the fittest here tonight at Suzuka. Can he keep himself there and score some good points? We got Glenn saying, Raki, pardon me, I will try. He says, so let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can pick up over the course of this race. Andrew thanking some guys in the comments there who were congratulating him on his race win in the Tier 2s a few moments ago. We've also got Pete wishing Glenn good luck in the comments as well. Nice work, Error Code, says Glenn. Obviously getting onto the podium in the Tier 2 race. Yeah, we saw plenty of good stuff going on. We've got Zilla Bang there saying, good luck, Glenn, go get him, he says, as we got Jazzman here and Tynus side by side coming up towards the chicane. Jazzman taking a very dominant pole position. I hope that we'll see a race here, but it's looking, I think, like Jazzman's going to run away with this. Raki in the comments saying, hope you're okay, Andy. Just recovered from COVID myself this week. I don't know if it's COVID. I hope it isn't, man. Oh, I really hope it isn't, because I can't afford to take any days off work. I need the money. So here we go anyway. No, I hope it's not. If it is, I'm just going to try and bury my head in the sand and ignore it and just keep going. But here we are anyway, coming out the last corner. We've got Jazzman on pole. He's ahead of Tynus. Here we are up towards the line. We are about to go here for round 6 of the Tier 1s for the GT3 Championship on ACC here at Motive. Once they cross the line, will be officially green flag for this one. And here we go. We are now racing down towards turn 1 for the first time. Does Tynus get a good start? This is probably his best chance here to get ahead of Jazzman, but Jazzman looks like he's covered him off coming into turn 1. It's Jazzman from Tynus. You've got Luca there up the inside of Ludo. No changes there. Oh, Titan Guto's into the wall at turn 1. Who's he crashed with? PS Vids has gone into him as well. So Titan Guto and PS Vids seemingly having a collision there coming through turn 1. And those two down to the back of the pack. So that's got an absolute disaster there for those two. It's Jazzman from Tynus from Luca. And then you've got Ludo there as who's lost a position here. Looks like there's been another change somewhere. But wow, unbelievable start to the race there. Titan Guto and PS Vids down near the back of the pack. You've got Jazzman from Tynus, there's Luca, and looks as though somebody's slotted in the middle of this pack here as well. So who is that? That can't be, no, it's no way is that High Grade. High Grade is in 4th place. How on earth has he got there? That is incredible. From P10 on the grid, he's now in 4th place. He's got Mary Louise behind him. You've got Luna there in 6th, who's lost a couple of places here. Low 3000 ahead of Carmasol, followed by Mativ. Spuzz there competing in the top 10. And you've got Epiphany, Tom Quarity, Brando ahead of Glenn GT. PS Fitz down to P15 ahead of Yellow Army. And then you've got Max Power and Titan Guto's well off at the back of the pack there in P18. Well, after that collision there with PS Fitz, but PS Fitz is already making up places, has already got ahead of Yellow Army and Max Power into 15th place, so he's not hanging about in his recovery drive so far in this one. I think maybe Ludo might have got caught up a little bit in their collision because he lost a few places as well, dropped down behind High Grade and Mary Louise. But as we come down the back straight here for the first time, it's Jazzman leading ahead of Tynus in the house and Luca completing the top 3, and they've gapped High Grade a little bit, who's managed to keep Mary Louise behind him on this lap so far, and Ludo's looking down the inside of Mary Louise into 130 odd. That's going to be job done there for him. Easy pickings there for Ludo up into 5th place. As we watch them all coming through in the background there, we've got almost side by side coming into the chicane. As you can see there, you've got Matev there making a move. Oh, he's lost it on the exit of the chicane and he loses out. Oh, and what's going on here? What's going on? Looked like he might have got a bit of a helping hand there actually from Spuzz, because Spuzz is waiting for him, so Spuzz letting Matev go back through, and they've now been mugged by Glenn GT. The man getting all the support in the comments here tonight. I tell you what, they are going to be absolutely counting their chickens, because this man here in the Aston Martin, the 888, is now running in P10. So Glenn GT has just managed to capitalise on everybody else making mistakes in front of him, and he is in 10th place, so he will be absolutely delighted with that one. James Thompson in the comments saying, checkmate here, watching from back of the pack as usual. Checkmate, is that from Project Cars 2? Tell me, are you the guy from Project Cars 2? I think you are, aren't you? You race with us sometimes in public lobbies. I think I know who you are. As Matev's got back ahead of Glenn GT up into P10, but Glenn nonetheless managing to make all the position gains. Yeah, James there saying, yep, it is him. Thought it was, but Currently, we've still got Jazzman out the front in this race. Just under a second is his gap right now over Titus in the house. You can see that he's just trying to extend it ever so slightly. Luca there in third, keeping on them, but he's falling off of them ever so slightly at this point. You've got High Grade there, who's got a second back to Ludo. There's Low 3000 ahead of Carmissar, who's got Mary Louise all over the back of him right now. And then you've got Tom Quarantine with a bit of a gap back to Matev, who's running in 10th place. There's Glenn GT in the background with Epiphany ahead of Max Power. Spuzz there on the back of these guys. Then you've got your Yellow Army running a little way behind. PS Vids must have dropped it again because he's dropped well behind Yellow Army here. He had got himself back up into P15, but he's obviously had another mistake here. And PS Vids has got a bit of damage on the front of the car as well, which will be costing him a little bit of grip. But Glenn GT's got a train of cars here. Epiphany and Max Power. Max Power caught up in the first up incident, I believe, because he's well down the order in P13. He's looking up the inside of Epiphany into 130R, but he's not going to make that happen. Had to get out of it a little bit. That cost him some momentum, but Spuzz can't do anything coming into the chicane. It's still as you were at the moment, but Raki here said, don't cause a traffic jam, Glenn. Just kidding, mate. Obviously, Glenn, if you can cause a traffic jam, if you're able to create a roadblock, do whatever you got to do, mate, because these guys are going to try and find a way through. You've just got to be brutal. You've got to be ruthless. Oh, it's Max Power sending one up the inside into turn one. Glenn was not expecting a late braking manoeuvre of that sort of nature. Max Power might actually get ahead of Epiphany here as well. Look at this. Does he get that move done there on Epiphany? I think he might have actually done that one there. So Max Power making two moves in space for a couple of corners. Oh, Glenn's gone wide. He's gone off the track there, and he's going to lose out on position here, I think. So where's Glenn come out in all of this? He's dropped behind the pack, I think. Oh no, Glenn. After all of that fortuitousness, he is now dropped down to, I think, 16th. Is he behind PS Vids? He is behind PS Vids. He's also behind Spuzz as well. Where's Yellow Army in all of this? Yellow Army is now ahead of these guys. So Yellow Army ahead of PS Vids and Spuzz. Oh, Spuzz drops it there on the exit of Degna 1. Oh no, that's going to give Glenn another position back again. Spuzz rejoining the track there, you see in the background. But he has lost a lot of ground here to these guys. Now down in P16. No, Glenn, why I ask you, says Raki. Come on, Glenn, sort it out, mate. But we've got Ludos on the back of High Grade right now in his battle for 4th and 5th places coming out of Spoon Curve. You've got Mary Louise on the back of Lowell 3. Oh, in fact, no, he's not. He's nowhere near. In fact, he's ahead of him. So Lowell 3000 has dropped it there through the middle sector. You've got Carmissar, who is a bit behind Lowell 3000 at the moment. And then you've got Tom Quarantine, who's got ahead of Carmissar. So Tom Quarantine up into 8th place. Carmissar in 9th. There's Matev, who's running just ahead of, or not just ahead of Max Power. He's running considerably way ahead of him right now. Max Power is just trying to get a move done here on what would appear to be the Ferrari of Titan Guto. So Titan Guto is a lap down at the moment as they're coming out of the last corner, so Max Power will be hoping that he doesn't get held up too much or at all, really. But he's 2 seconds clear of Epiphany, who's got 3 seconds further back to PS Vids, and Yellow Army is hassling, or no, in fact not really, because I think PS Vids has just made the move on him. So actually PS Vids is now trying to pull away from Yellow Army. You've got Glenn ahead of Spuzz as these guys very close into turn 1, but Spuzz just a little bit too far back at the moment to make the move into turn 1. But Jazzman is your race leader at the moment as he's coming out of Degna 2 here for the 4th time in the race, and he's pulling out the gap to Tinus. He's starting to turn up the tempo a little bit, is Jazzman. We saw in qualifying he was taking a dominant pole position, and so far he's looking very much to be the force to be reckoned with in this race. You got Luca there running in 3rd place, High Grade a little way off there in P4. You got Ludo there running in 5th place right now, with Mary Louise a few seconds behind him in 6th. There is a train of cars right there, which is currently headed by Tom Quarantine. Matev ahead of Max Power. So there's a big gaggle of cars here. Epiphany there running in 12th ahead of PS Vids, followed by Yellow Army, who's a couple of seconds behind them. You've got Glenn GT, who's just ahead of Spuzz as they're coming down towards the Kobayashi hairpin. Is Spuzz going to be close enough to make a move here? Oh, it's Glenn, bit deep, gets it turned in nicely back onto the track there for him. I'll tell you what though, Spuzz has got a bit of a run here actually coming down towards Spoon, but no, not really in a position to do anything just there for the time being. And so as well between those guys, Ludo looking up the inside of a High Grade into the chicane, but nothing doing at the moment, as Matev is trying to attack on Tom here as they're coming through 130 yard. Down towards the chicane they go. Matev looking to the outside here. Can he get this all the way around the long way here? You can see Tom trying to hug the inside line, but Matev here has the inside for the second part of the chicane. And that is job done there for Matev. Moves himself into 9th place. Now Max Power will be looking to try and knock Tom while he's down here as they're coming out onto the start finish straight once again. Here he is. He will use that slipstream there, but obviously it's a bit harder because Tom has the slipstream off of Matev as well. But Max Power's looking down the inside nonetheless. Goes late on the brakes up the inside. Goes a little bit deep. Does he get it stopped? Yes, he does. Max Power up into P10 and Tom losing 2 places in a space of about a mile there. And yeah, Max Power moves himself up into P10. In the meantime, we've got Ludo on the back of high grade. Still these guys battling out over 4th and 5th, but still Ludo can't find a way through up into 4th place at this point. You've got a battle now going on between Matev and Max Power, so obviously you can see there that Max Power has made light work of Tom Quarantine and is now looking to try and make it another move here as he's getting it all sorts of out of shape there coming through Degna 1. You can see in the foreground that Carvasar was also a bit onto the curb there on the exit of Degna 2, but holding it together for the time being. Still no dramas really at this point. But high grade there is still running in 4th place. Oh, he gets it a little bit out of shape there on the exit of Spoon, and Ludo getting a bit of a run here down the back straight. But yeah, still not really close enough to make anything happen just at the moment. Race starting to just settle down a little bit now though. Max Power actually is on the back of Matev as they're now coming down the back straight side by side, and Max Power I think is going to get this one done quite easily actually. As down the inside he goes, and Matev tucks in, thinks I'm not going to fight this one too hard. Well, having said that, he's trying to come back at Max Power here, coming into the chicane. Throws a little feint to the inside, Max Power's got that covered off, keeps on to that one, so that is P9 now for Max Power. As they come through the final corner, about to complete lap 5 of the race. Mary Louise still running just ahead of Ludo as those two come into turn 1. And there's Max Power on the back of Carvasar. You've got Matev there running just behind those. There's Tom Quarantine currently running 11th place. Epiphany still just ahead of PS Vids as they're coming through turn 1. And there is Yellow Army who's running in 14th place at the moment. Mary Louise is still keeping Ludo behind him at this point in this battle for P5 and 6. So we've still got Matev trying to pass on the back of Carvasar here as they're coming through the hairpin. He's got a bit of a run. Carvasar didn't get a great exit out of the hairpin, but looks like Carvasar's still got the measure of Matev just about as they come down towards Spoon. And yeah, it's just too far back at the moment to get anything done. Mary Louise has still got heavy pressure here from Ludo as these guys come out of Spoon. You can see 0.6 of a second between them. Ludo went a bit wide onto the curb coming out of the corner, but he's holding it nicely at the moment. PS Vids eyeing up his next victim here in the shape of Epiphany, as we've got Titan Guto into the pits for a second pit stop here. I tell you what, that is going to be pretty much nail in his race. Brando 4 laps down, really struggling tonight as well. Has not had the night at all. As Carvasar's made a mistake coming out of the final chicane, and that's allowed Matev to swoop through up into P9. Easy pickings there for Matev. Didn't see what happened to Carvasar, but he obviously made a mistake there, which has made him lose the position. He will now have Tom closing up onto him as well. PS Vid's not making the gains on Epiphany that I think he would be liking to at this point. Seems to be struggling here tonight at Suzuka for whatever reason. PS Vid's consistent top 5 finisher here at Motive. Obviously, he's actually the reigning champion of this PS5 GT3 Championship. He won last season's title down to just sheer consistency over the course of the season, and also managed to take the final win of the season at Hungary as well. But yeah, I mean, his consistency since he started here at Moto has been what's really I think given him some really good championship positions, and obviously last season ended up taking the title. But this season, obviously with drivers like Jazzman and Tynus back in the fold, Luca consistently turning out, Ludo as well, Max Power, it's just so hard to really get into a top 5 or get into the podium places. PSV has had to sort of take what's come his way for this season pretty much, but he did win the championship last season due to a fantastic consistent effort. But with drivers like Jazzman, consistency is not good enough. You need to be absolutely at the peak of your powers to have any chance against this man. And Tynus in the house knows that all too well. The gap currently 4 seconds between the two Bentleys as they're coming over the line here to complete their 7th laps of the race. We've still got Mary Louise just ahead of Ludo as they're coming through the chicane. You can see they're a few seconds clear of Max Power, who's now in clean air ahead of Lowell 3000. So 10 seconds covers the top 3, but the rest of them are a long way behind. You've got High Grade, Mary Louise and Ludo still batting over 4th, 5th and 6th places at the moment. Max Power's now starting to reel these guys in. Now he's in some clean air. There's Lowell 3000 and Matev. Karmasar's got Tom hassling in for the final top 10 spot. PS Fid's still on the back of Epiphany as he has been for the last few laps. Spuzz is also on the back of Yellow Army, but he's gone a bit deep going into turn 1. That's cost him a bit of ground here to the Audi. Tyson Guto still in the box. I don't think he's I think he's retiring the car by the looks of it. He will lose track position to Brando pretty shortly, I would imagine. But nonetheless, we've got Jazzman coming through the final chicane. There's Tynus in the background, just under 5 seconds off for the lead right now. You've got Lucas still going in that final podium spot. Mary Louise just on the back of High Grade still, but doesn't look like he's able to really put him under significant pressure at this point. There's Max Power, there's Lowell 3000 as well, who's currently on the back of in fact, Matev is now ahead of Lowell 3000, so he's made that move as those two are coming through 130R. You've got Karmasar still ahead of Tom Quarantine, as PS Fid is now ahead of Epiphany, so he's made that move as they're going through 130R. Spuzz is still on the back of Yellow Army as they're coming through 130R, just under half a second between those two. Oh, as Yellow Army's made a mistake, didn't get a good run, or did he let him through maybe, I'm not sure, but nonetheless Spuzz threw up into 14th place. As Karmasar and Tom still continuing their battle into turn 1. Lowell 3000 is still trying to put the pressure on Matev here. Mary Louise still can't find a way through ahead of High Grade. High Grade's been defending this one for some considerable number of laps, and now you can see that Max Power has arrived on the back of these two. So I don't know whether these two have had a crash or had a bit of a to-do, because Max Power is now right on them. He was 2.5 seconds behind at the start of this lap, so these two must have had a bit of a collision, and this has allowed Max Power right into this battle here for 4th place. As through the Degners we go, and High Grade just extending his gap a little bit to Mary Louise through that section of the track, but Max Power is now looking to try and nab Mary Louise into the hairpin if he possibly can, but just a bit too far back at the moment by the looks of it. Max Power looking to the inside there. Mary Louise going into 130R. You got Matev there running 4 seconds behind in 7th place. There's Lol 3000. Tom Quarantine there still sat in P9 right now. It's got Commissar on the back of him. There's PS Vids, who's running a little way clear of Epiphany. As Max Power looking to the inside there on Mary Louise. Mary Louise goes a bit deep there, puts it onto the curb, gets a bit of a slide on. As Mary Louise is now looking to attack on the outside of High Grade into turn 2. But High Grade holding his ground. But yeah, currently it's still High Grade keeping ahead. And Mary Louise has got, I think Mary Louise has got more pressure from behind than he is putting on High Grade in front of him. So it's going to be about whether Max Power can just force him into a mistake at this point. So here come Mary Louise and Max Power once again coming down to the start-finish straight. You can see here that Max Power's got a bit of a run. Looking to the inside here, using that slipstream. He might have this one done actually coming into turn 1. I think he is going to get it done. Down the inside he goes, pushed him a little bit wide. Bit of contact as Mary Louise didn't want to let him through, but Max Power's got the job done there and moves himself up into P5. So now he can focus on High Grade, who's up ahead of him. So Max Power continuing to cut his way through his pack, but once he gets on High Grade, he's going to find that there's a big gap in front of him because Jazzman, Tinus and Luca are gone. There's 15 seconds covering the top 3, and then they've got over 25 seconds back to High Grade. So Max Power even probably is going to find that if he's able to dispatch High Grade, he's going to find himself quite bored for the rest of this race. But Karmasai nonetheless is on the back of PS Fit still. PS Fit has actually got himself into P10, so he's made the move on Karmasai. He can now try and tear after guys like Lol 3000 and Tom Quarantine, who are not too far up the road from him. So here we are then, coming out of the last corner, about to complete lap 11 of the race. And High Grade's got 4 tenths to Max Power. Max Power's creeping closer and closer and closer as into turn 1 we come once again, but he's just got enough here, just got enough legs there as High Grade on Max Power. Always, he's got a bit deep though coming through on the exit of turn 1 as Max Power's now got the outside and will be able to swoop around him here, and Max Power gets the job done up into, 4th place as they come through the S's. And now Max Power can try and, pull out the gap, I guess, but he's probably not going to catch Luca in third. And the race has kind of settled down a bit now, really, to be fair. You've got Jazzman leading by over 6 seconds, Tynus in second, Luca in third. I reckon Jazzman probably is going to be half tanking it, and I'll explain my rationale behind this. He said that he would decide after qualifying whether or not he would be half tanking it, and obviously from what I can infer from that, he was basically saying that if he's not on pole he would be full tanking it, but because he's on pole I think he would be half tanking it. So we can, I think, assume that Jazzman is half tanking it, but is Tynus half tanking it? If Tynus is full tanking it, this is going to bring him into play in the final part of this race, or in the second half of the race after the pit stops. So could we be seeing that becoming a factor in this race, maybe? It's yes, definitely possible. But nonetheless, there is Luca in the background coming down the start-finish straight. He's currently 15 seconds off for the lead. And there's Max Power, who's running just ahead of Mary Louise. There's High Grade in the background ahead of Matev. Low 3000 there in 8th. There's Tom Quarantine, who's a couple of seconds clear of PS Fitz, who currently completes the top 10. He's already pulled out 4 seconds to Karmasar since getting ahead of him, but he's not making huge gains on Tom Quarantine at the moment. Epiphany there running within 2 seconds of Karmasar right now. As we've got 15 of you currently watching the stream right now, guys, if you are enjoying what you're watching, please do smash the like button, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel if you haven't already. Can we get the stream to 20 likes before we get off air tonight? We've currently got 13 likes on the stream, so guys, if you haven't already, please smash the hell out of that like button, because 20 likes on the stream, that'd be awesome. We had 25 last time out at Barcelona. I think our record for the season was 30 odd likes for the first race maybe, but we haven't hit those lofty heights for a little while. So if you guys are enjoying it, please, as I say, hit the like button. It helps us out. It helps to share our videos to the right people. So we've got Epiphany closing up onto the back of Karmasano. You can see these two only separated by 0.7 of a second as they're coming out of Degna 2. As Epiphany creeping a little bit closer onto the back of him right now. I'm just noticing on the timing board that Lowell 3000 has dropped down the order a bit, so he must have dropped it somewhere because he's now in 11th place. So that moves Tom Quarantine, PS Fitz, and Lowell, and Tom Quarantine and PS Fitz up. So in fact, Lowell 3000 is actually running in 10th, not 11th. But he's I don't know where he made the mistake, but that's obviously promoted these two, and now PS Fitz is only half a second off of Tom Quarantine as well, so PS Fitz looking to try and make 2 position gains in the space of pretty much a lap here. He's still got damage on the front of the car, that will be affecting him a little bit at this point. But let's see how he can keep it together here. Oh, massive slide there from PS Fitz coming out of the chicane. Keeps it together just about, brings it into the pits, spares his blushes, and lives to fight another day here. We'll try and go for the undercut probably here on Tom Quarantine, but PS Fitz, the first driver of the ones other than Ludo to come in for a scheduled pit stop that wasn't for damage. And Titan Guto's already in the pits. So who's that coming in behind PS Fitz? Who could that possibly be? Oh, it's LOL 3000, but for some reason LOL 3000 isn't showing up as being in the pits, but he is. It's a bit weird. It hasn't shown up on the graphic hasn't shown up as being in the pits, but yeah, we'll just pretend that's not really there. It's currently Matev still on the back of High Grade here. These guys coming out of Degna 2, you can see they're not too far behind Mary Louise. As Matev's just eyeing up a move here on High Grade, coming down towards the hairpin. You can see High Grade just defending the inside of it. Matev can't make it go around the outside there. Oh, Jesus Christ. The boy's struggling tonight, I tell you. Jazzman into the pits. Tyrannus coming over the line to start lap 16 as the race leader. So Jazzman there coming into the box. Obviously had a considerable lead before he came in, but is he? I mean, I wonder if Tynus is full tanking it. That could potentially play a big hand in what happens in the rest of this race. But Jazzman definitely half tanking it for sure. So we're changing tyres as well. Luca, what's he doing? Oh, Luca. Oh, he's stopping in the box now. So we'll see what Luca's doing in a second. But Jazzman there will be going in a moment. You can see the Audi there of LOL 3000. No, sorry, not like LOL. Yeah, no. The Audi of Yellow Army there getting moving again. As Jazzman is now off and away. I know why LOL 3000 wasn't showing up as being in the pits. It's because he sped into the pit lane. That's why. As Jazzman's now off and away and back out onto the track. Luca will be off to Jackson on his way in a moment. Commissar is just coming in now. But it's currently Tynus leading the race. Max Power is now well clear of Mary Louise, 4 seconds ahead. And Mary Louise is a couple of seconds clear of High Grade. Matev's now onto the back of High Grade as we can see these guys coming through towards Degna 1. As Matev's looking to the inside, but just can't make the move at the moment. So PS Fitz, PS Fitz has binned it into the pit wall, coming into the pits. What a disaster there. Is he going to carry on? He's always got a drive-through penalty. So, that's a double whammy there because he'd already done his pit stop anyway. So he's coming in to do a drive-through and he's gone absolutely steaming into the pit wall. And did he get it stopped in time there on the entry to the pits? Did he get it stopped to 50 miles an hour? I'm not sure if he did. It's showing him as being in the pits, so I think he might be alright here. As we see LOL 3000 into the pits now. But PS Fitz, what a shame. And that drive-through would have been for track limits as well. That wouldn't have been for anything to do with the pit stop before. That would have been due to track limits. LOL 3000 is now doing his stop-go penalty for speeding in the pits the last time he was in. And PS Fitz is now out and he's done his drive-through and no stop-go for him. So, but in fact, is PS Fitz retiring? I think he is. I think he's parking it here. Yeah, PS Fitz, I think he's done. Lol 3000 in the box doing his stop-go penalty now. Titan Guto's been in the pits for 12 laps now. Tynus is still out the front, winning this race. But, well, no, not winning this race, leading this race. But Jazzman's the one who's probably winning it, to be fair. As Matev there's now into the box and off and he's stopped in the box, he's now off and on his way. I think PS Fitz has parked it. Yeah, he's in his pit box, so I don't think he's carrying on here. What a shame. But Tynus still leads the race right now. Max Power's running in second place. He's got 5 seconds back to Mary Louise, who's currently running in third. He's got a couple of seconds back to High Grade, who's a further 4 seconds ahead of Tom Quarantine. Jazzman only 3 seconds off at the back of Tom Quarantine, and he's obviously been into the pits already, and he's your net race leader, so Jazzman will be hoping and praying he can get through this traffic unscathed, because he's got a lot more to lose. All of these guys still yet to pit in this race, so he just needs to keep his cool as he negotiates these guys. Guido Chris there saying, get well soon Andy, respect, you're still commentating, appreciate that, man. Can't not commentate, really, to be honest. Would be neglecting my duty to these guys out on track who show up week in, week out to the league. It's the least I could do. But we see Glenn there pulling off into the wall as well, coming down the straight. Don't know what he was doing there. But Jazzman there continuing around 130R here. As we see Max Power coming in at the end of lap 17 for him. And High Grade also coming in as well. So both of these guys coming in at the end of lap 17 to make their pit stops. Obviously we're just beyond the halfway mark. I wonder if I can't imagine they're changing tyres and putting fuel in at this point. I wouldn't imagine they would be. But who knows? Just noticing that Max Power's picked up a drive-through penalty there for track limits, so he's going to have to come in, slow it down to the pit lane speed limit and drive through the pits. And probably will lose out to Ludo and Karmasar, so I imagine he'll drop down to P12 once he's done that. And that's going to hurt his race enormously here. Jazzman's up into third, so he's picked off the traffic of Tom Epiphany. And we can see here Spuzz and Luca fighting over sixth, but obviously Luca's already been into the pits, so he'll be hoping that Spuzz doesn't hold him up too much, as they're now coming through the final corner again. And surely this is going to be job done here for Luca in the slipstream. Pulls out now, looking to the inside. He'll breeze past him into the braking zone and should have the inside line, the preferred line through turn one. Luca makes the move into sixth place. Spuzz knew that's not his fight, knew that it's not his, knew to pick his battles there. And Luca there moves himself up into sixth place. Routine stuff there. BMW versus BMW. And Luca could continue on his way. As Max Power coming in to do that drive-through penalty here at the end of lap 18. Tynus still leading ahead of Mary Louise, but obviously these two still need to come in when they, pardon me, when they do. Jazzman will be reassuming the race lead. Oh. Sorry guys, just had to quickly take a moment there, but Tynus in house is still your race leader by some considerable way, but when he comes in, where is he going to come out? Because now is the big question. Jazzman has worked his way into clean air, he's cleared all the traffic in front of him, he's made his pit stop already. Tynus still yet to make his, but the big question now is, has Jazzman done enough on these fresh tyres to close the gap to come out ahead of Tynus? And if not, is he going to be able to reel Tynus in when Tynus comes in? Because I don't think Tynus is going to be changing tyres or putting fuel in at this point. He's not going to have got this far into the race if he was planning on changing tyres. I don't think. It's pretty much unthinkable now, because at this point there would be little to no benefit whatsoever from changing tyres. So I reckon that Tynus in the house is going to do the whole race on one set of tyres. It's not an easy track to do it. If there was one driver who I thought would be doing this tonight, it would have been Henry in Tier 2. But he obviously was a bit of a surprise. He didn't do that tonight. And that, obviously, we saw how that ended up. But Tynus in the house could maybe be the only driver tonight to make it work. It's got over 50 seconds to Jazzman. I imagine a pit stop's probably about 40 seconds. 40 or 45 seconds if it's a stop and go and there's no messing around in the pit box. So he'd come out well ahead, but Jazzman will have so much pace on him in the final few laps. It'll be nip and tuck. I'll tell you what, it could be quite close, because Jazzman's lead was only about 7 seconds before he came in, so it's not unthinkable for Tynus to actually do this, to do this, the overcut, with the full tank and the no tyre change. You know, it's not completely unthinkable. Still a little way to go here at Suzuka, but we are into the final third of the race. Tynus has just managed to lap the McLaren there of Brando as he's going through Spoon right now. But yeah, at this point it is looking very much like it's going to be a battle to the end between Tynus and Jazzman. These two old rivals, and we've seen so many times there have been battles looming on the horizon, and then every single time Tynus disconnects. So I hope I haven't put a curse on him now. Sorry Tynus, I should shut up. Sorry, I don't want to even think about that right now. That's tempting fate, because for me personally that would be an absolute disaster. With the battle that we've got currently on our hands right now, that would be heartbreaking for me. I hope it doesn't happen. Let's stop tempting fate. But Tynus in the house here, coming over the line to start lap 22 of the race. And he's got about half a lap of a gap to Jazzman, but that is more or less the time that you lose in the pits. So Tynus should have the race lead, but Jazzman will have much fresher tyres at the end of this race. How is this all going to play out? We're just going to wait and watch and see how this goes. 16 of you currently watching right now, if you guys are enjoying what you're watching, please smash the like button, as it helps us out hugely. We're trying to get 20 likes on the stream tonight if we can. That would be absolutely amazing if we can do that. I personally would be very happy with that because I've had a very, very difficult night. My throat is absolutely killing me. I've either got a flu, COVID or bronchitis. To be honest, I hope it's the first one. I could live with the second one. The third one, I'd be wondering how. I guess it could be pneumonia. But yeah, if it is, then it's been nice knowing you all. But yeah, currently we've still got Epiphany who's coming through the chicane right now with Luca, who's actually done the move on in there. So Luca's up into P5. And obviously Epiphany's still to come in. Mary Louise and Tom have also got to come in at some point. So these three running in third, fourth and fifth will not be in those positions by the time we get to the end of this race. But the gap between Tynus and Jasmine is now under 50 seconds. But what is the time loss going to be in the pit stop for Tynus? And when does he come in and make that stop? Because he's got to start thinking now about, he needs to make sure that he's still ahead of Jasmine when he comes out. Because if he's got a lot less grip and he's going to lose time to Jasmine at the end, what he wants to be is he wants to be ahead of him so that he can at least defend it. Because I tell you what, if he's got worn out tyres and he's staying out and he's in clean air and Jasmine's in clean air, he's going to have no chance. Whereas if he's got worn out tyres and Jasmine's got fresh, but he's in the way, he gives himself a fighting chance of being able to defend a position. So Tynus has got to make sure that he comes in at a point where Jasmine isn't within his pit window. So when is Tynus going to do that? He's trying to sort of bridge the gap between keeping us guessing and keeping Jasmine guessing, most importantly, but also making sure that he comes out in the lead of this race. That's going to be the real pivotal decision point for him. But here he comes out of Degner 2 right now. We're into the final quarter of the Tier 1 race here at Suzuka for Motive Racing's GT3 Championship. This week, obviously, round 6 of 8 for the season. And this man still doing the business. Tom Quarantine in the pits to make his mandatory. So it's now just Mary Louise and Epiphany who need to come in and make their pit stop. 17 of you currently watching, guys. Smash the like button if you're enjoying tonight. Show your appreciation for the guys out on track. For Tynus and Jasmine, who are still very much on the table here as to who's going to take this win. Tom in the box as it stands. Brando's still going. Fair play to him after a very difficult start to the race. He's never given up. He's continued to push. But here comes Tynus out of the final corner. And he's about to start lap 24. And still showing no signs of pulling the trigger just yet. So here he comes into turn 1 once again. And he is well clear of Jasmine, who's running in second place. $15 likes. I want to thank the two guys who have just dropped us a like on the video. Absolute legends, I love you. But I'm going to keep an eye on the gap here between Tynus and Jasmine as they come around this time around, because the gap is coming down, but how much is it coming down by? Because I would have thought that Tynus would lose probably about between 40 and 45 seconds in the pits, depending on how long he's sat in the box for. But here comes Jasmine over the line. Let's keep an eye on the gap. It's not saying what the gap is. So at the moment we don't really know. At this point, it's they're kind of just keeping us guessing at this point. Do we see the gap at the first sector checkpoint? I think we might actually see it at the first sector checkpoint. The thing is, if Tynus is a whole sector ahead of Jasmine, we don't see the gap. But if he is within a sector of him, we do actually get to see it. So I think we get to see it because Tynus won't get to the second sector checkpoint before Jasmine gets to the first. So I think we will briefly see the gap at some point down this straight. Yeah, 46 seconds is the gap. well, if it's about a 40-second pit stop, Tynus could come out ahead. But I reckon Tynus needs to pull the trigger now to give himself a chance of coming out in front of Jazzman. I think he just needs to pull the trigger and needs to go for it, because if he keeps longing it out and carrying on, he risks coming out behind Jazzman and then he'll have no chance to defend. But he's continuing to stay out for the time being. So it was 46.3 was the gap coming down the back straight this time. Well, that time just gone. So we're going to keep an eye on this time around, and we're going to keep tabs on this as it develops. But we're going to have 6 more laps in this race. That is a given. That is absolutely certain. So it's going to be a 30-lap race here. As I'm just noticing here, Ludo's on the back of Matev now, as these guys bat it out of 7th and 8th. Oh, Matev, a bit of a slide there coming through Degnal 1. Into 2 they go, and it's still Matev holding Ludo at bay. You can see there in the background there's the lap car of Low 3000 just going through your shot, and I think we've got, is that high grade there coming around to lap them? It is high grade, yep. And there's a Bentley also in the background, which is definitely not PS Vids. It is, in fact, it's the leaders. So that is the 2 leaders actually. Well, no, it's not. It's Tynus. So that's Tynus there just coming around. He'll be putting a lap on these guys shortly, and he'll be hoping and praying they don't get in his way, because he's currently locked horns in a fight for the win. Or not be it, well, they're not battling on track, but they will be battling at the end of this race, because Tynus has currently got a lead, which will see him, as it stands, come out probably about 5 seconds ahead of Jazzman. Jazzman is on average lapping about a second a lap quicker. So we're going to have 5 laps left in this race, but Tynus needs to get himself in. I've said it so many times, but he needs to get himself in, because if he doesn't come in now, he could come out behind Jazzman. He gives himself a fighting chance of holding on if he stays out, or if he comes in, because then he'll come out ahead of him. But he's still staying out. Is he just going to leave it until the very last lap to keep us all guessing? As we see, Epiphany has now made his one and only pit stop of this race, and is now back out onto the track. So that just now leaves our race leader Tynus and Mary Louise to come in and make their stops, and then that is everybody having ticked that green box. Tynus still your race leader at the moment, but for how much longer can he keep the grip in those tyres? Is he going to limp this one around and take the win here? He's come close a couple of occasions. He came close at Silverstone. Silverstone was probably his best chance to take a win, but Caterpillar managed to just hold on for the win in that one. Tynus was hunting him down at the end, but couldn't quite get there. Reliability issues have kind of cost him for the rest of the season. He's just had a bit of bad luck this season, has Tynus, but tonight could be the night when it all changes. We'll keep an eye on what his gap to his rival Jazzman is when they come down the back straight, because that's when we get to see them both in the same sector. But Jazzman, on the whole, has been lapping about a second a lap quicker than him. So 44 seconds is now the gap. And we're going to have 4 laps left in this race. So he's continuing to bring it down by about a second each lap. But Tynus has got traffic here. So surely he's got to think about bailing this time, coming into the pits. He's just been waved by there by High Grade. So High Grade there, not causing him any dramas. He's got Glenn just up ahead of him. Glenn and Low 3000 just coming through the final corner. And Tynus staying out for now. Still not biting the bullet yet. What times are the top 3 lapping in? Says Zillabang. Fastest lap. Hold on. It just shows Jazzman and nobody else. Sorry, mate. Can't tell you. As Matev has got ahead of Ludo here, so Ludo's obviously been passed by him, I think coming through the Degner's probably. So Matev up into P6 there, you can see them coming through. There is still Low 3000 battling with what would appear to be, don't know, can't work out who that is. Oh, he's battling with Tynus, yeah, Tynus. How am I forgetting? Do you know what? I just keep thinking it's inconceivable that the race leader's in that position, but obviously he's lapping traffic, as I said. And obviously that is Tynus in the house, who's coming through Spoon Curve right now. Bit of a slide there. Has that lost him time on this lap? It has. He lost 1.5 seconds on that lap alone there to Jazzman. So when's Tynus going to come in? We've got 3 laps left in this race. 3 more opportunities for him to come in and get this pit stop done. But when does he do it? As he comes around the final corner, it's still not this time. Noticing here that Ludo's on the back of Matev, still battling over P6 and 7. Matev made the move on him, but Ludo's trying to come back at him here as they come into Degner 2. Ludo all over the curb there on the exit of Degner 2, as then I'll come through down towards the hairpin once again. Matev still holding him off. Max Power is also arriving on the back of Carmesar here, as these two battled it out over P11. But in fact, I think that Max Power's done him there. Yep, you can see he's ahead of him now. So Max Power has got ahead of Carmesar up into 11th. But Ludo's still trying to come back at Matev here as they're coming through Spoon Curve. Gap between Tynus and Jazzman, we'll know it in a second. It was 42.5 on the previous lap. This time it's 41.3, so still just over 1 second a lap. Jazzman is reeling in Tynus on his fresher tyres. But is that going to be enough for Jazzman to nick the win here? Is Tynus going to come in this time? Surely he's got to. Surely. As he comes into the chicane, it's either this time or it's the next time. There is no other option. If he doesn't do it this time, it's the next one. And he's staying out, so it's going to be the last lap. Tynus will be coming into the pits. We could be seeing a final lap battle between Tynus and Jazzman, or is Tynus going to come out behind him here? It's going to go down to the wire between these two. The championship leader Jazzman has taken a few wins already this season, to be fair. But is it going to be another one, or is Tynus going to get what is quite unbelievably would be his first win if he can do it tonight? But can he do it? Because I tell you what, the gap 40 seconds, it's about 40 seconds in the pits. And he's only 41 seconds ahead, and Jazzman is reeling him in at such a rate. Over 1 second a lap, this man is reeling in the race leader. He's got to come in this lap to make his mandatory pit stop. We believe it's just going to be a stop and go. No tyre change, no fuel. He's going to be in and out of that box in no time. But can he come out ahead of Jazzman, who's coming into turn 1 right now, on the back of Max Power coming through? Max Power... Well, Jazzman will be hoping that Max Power lets him through here, but to be fair, I don't think there's going to be too many favours going on here, because these two have got a bit of history. Max Power pulls over and lets Jazzman through, but he did lose Jazzman quite a bit of time there, as he was just dithering about in front of him, and that would have cost Jazzman ever so slightly, and Jazzman, I'm sure, will not appreciate that. Tynus coming into Spoon. He's got to come in this time. He's got a few corners to go on this lap. We're about to start the final lap in a moment's time. The gap's 41 seconds still, so Jazzman has not gained any time and stuff. The gap has stayed the same, and you've got to think that's pretty much down to Max Power not letting him through. But to be fair, the blue flags are there as a warning, not as an order. But here comes Tynus into the chicane. He's about to start the final lap. He's got to come into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop this time around. And here is the moment of truth. Tynus in the house, pulls it into the pits. Let's hope he stops it in time, doesn't speed in the pits. Here he goes, onto the limiter now. Tynus in the house is in the pit lane. Jazzman is coming through Spoon. And here we go. This is where we find out who is going to win this race tonight at Suzuka for round 6 here at Motive, Season 3 in the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship. Jazzman coming down towards 130R right now. Tynus is into the box. Jazzman coming through 130R. Here he comes, now down towards the chicane. Tynus in the box still. Jazzman into the chicane. Tynus is off the jacks, and he's away. And Jazzman is only coming around to the final corner. So I think Tynus in the house is going to do this here. Tynus should come out with the race lead. Jazzman coming out on the final corner, just putting a lap there on some traffic. That is Spuzz, I think, there. He's putting a lap on. But Tynus in the house is already coming into turn 1. As there is Brando in the background. Here is Jazzman coming into turn 1. So Tynus in the house. It looks like he's going to bring it round for the win here. Jazzman struggling to put a lap here on Spuzz, who holds his ground on the inside. Jazzman gets the run coming into turn 2. But Tynus in the house is about to deny Jazzman of a win. And I tell you what, it's great to see Tynus in the lead here, because it's been a long time, I think, since he won a race here at Motive. Back in Season 1, I think, is the last time he took a win. We're on the final lap here at Suzuka, but it is absolutely brilliant for Tynus, who's played the strategy. Fantastic job from him with keeping it out on the worn tyres. Had a full tank of fuel from the start. He's got half a lap left to go. He's got just under 5 seconds here over Jazzman, who's just about to put a lap on Brando by the looks of it. As Brando's just coming through down towards the Kobayashi hairpin. But here comes Tynus out of the hairpin now. And there is Jazzman in second place. What a drive, says Zillabang about Tynus in the house. I couldn't agree with you more. He kept it cool. He hasn't panicked. He hasn't made any mistakes, despite the worn tyres around a circuit which is very hard on the tyres. And Tynus in the house has done what I think many people, including the Tier 2 tyre-saving connoisseur Henry, thought impossible here tonight. He has managed to go the entire race on one set of tyres with a full tank of fuel, taking every bit of pressure on those 4 pieces of rubber. He's coming through 130R for the final time. Tynus in the house into the final chicane. He's going to put a win on the board for the first time here in Season 3 here for the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship in Tier 1. Jazzman closing the gap, but it's going to be too late for Jazzman, because Tynus in the house is clearing away, and it's going to be the checker flag for Tynus in the house. A well-deserved victory for him as he comes over the line here at Suzuka. In the end, the gap 4 seconds or just under 4 seconds between Tynus and Jazzman. Jazzman takes second place. Not a bad result for him, but I'm sure he'll be gutted to have lost this one. But Tynus, what a drive. Zillabang summed it up perfectly there. Lucas coming into 130R here. And he's going to take third place here in this race by the looks of it. Spuzz, Max Power and Carmissar have all finished the race already, a lap down in 10th, 11th and 12th places. Yellow Army's coming around the final corner. Is it? No, he's coming through the middle sector. Luca coming around the final corner to take third place. As he completes the podium a long way behind the top 2. Mary Louise is coming into 130R for the final time and will take a P4 here tonight. And that's not bad at all. Some great points there for Mary Louise. Big shout out to him, and also to Tom Quarantine and Matev as well. To be fair, these guys in some very good points paying positions. But Mary Louise here up towards the line will take 4th place here tonight at Suzuka. Tom Quarantine will come around to take P5 in the end. As there he is. There's Matev over in 6th place. And Yellow Army will be the next driver over the line to take, I think, 13th, or it might not be because a few drivers have left the session. High Grade's going to come over to take 7th. Ludo will finish in 8th place in the end. Lowell 3000 just finished in 14th. Epiphany will be the last driver on the lead lap, and he's going to take P9 in the end. Glenn taking 15th. Titan Guto retired a long way out. And Epiphany will be the last driver over the line. 9th place for him. And that is all she wrote tonight for the GT3 Championship here on the PlayStation 5 Automotive on ACC. Congratulations to our race winners tonight. And Tynus in the house there doing a fantastic job of playing a strategy and taking the win there by just under 4 seconds ahead of Jazzman. Luca completing the podium. Guys, we're going to get off because my voice is dying. But if you did enjoy tonight, please do smash the like button. If you're watching for the first time, feel free to join us at www.motiveracing.com. We've got a couple of rounds left for this season, but we've also got a new season starting up. Probably I'll be putting up the sign-ups probably in the next week or so. There will also be a Porsche Super Cup, and it's either going to be a BMW M2 Series, a Ferrari Challenge, or a GT3 Sprint Cup on a Wednesday. We're going to add a couple of extra leagues in. They'll be running on Wednesdays and Saturdays to run alongside our GT3 Championship, which is obviously our main event on a Sunday. But yeah, if you guys are interested in that, if you're on the PlayStation 5, we're exclusive to the PlayStation 5. So if you're interested in that, head over to www.motiveracing.com and join our Discord through there. But guys, that's it. I'm going to head off now. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. What's left of it, not much. Hope you all have a great week. Yeah, thanks everybody. We will see you very, very soon. Take it easy and good night.